All right, let's just jump right in, shall we? We are tackling the big one today, the 24-mark ideology essay. The final boss of A-level politics paper 1. For a lot of students, it's a huge challenge, but we're going to change that right now.
So you open up the paper and bam, you get hit with a question like this. It can feel pretty intimidating, right? That phrase, to what extent, it's not just asking if they're divided, it's asking how much. It wants a big, detailed, nuanced argument.
And what really makes your stomach drop? It's this number, 24. I mean, just think about that for a second. That is a massive chunk of your final grade, all riding on this one answer.
Look, let's be honest, this is the question where A-level politics students bleed the most marks. But, and this is a big but, it doesn't have to be that way. There is an actual system for nailing these questions, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to fix this, right here, right now.
So what's the secret sauce? Well, it all starts with understanding what the examiner is actually looking for. It's kind of like having a cheat code, and I'm going to give it to you. Let's call it the examiner's secret weapon. First things first, let's talk about the single biggest mistake I see students make over and over again. They treat ideologies like a shopping list. You know what I mean, right? Okay, I'll have one Marx, one Hobbes, and a side of Mill. They just list a thinker, say what they thought, list another. It's just so flat, and it's not going to get you anywhere near the top marks. But check this out. This is a little nugget of gold straight from an examiner, and it changes the whole game. They said high-scoring answers see ideologies as living debates. They want you to show them the friction within the family. I love that phrase. So stop thinking about conservatism or socialism as these dusty old textbooks on a shelf. Instead, picture them as a big, loud, ongoing family argument. Your job is to explain who's shouting about what and why.
All right, so if the shopping list approach is out, what's in? Well, this is it. This is your blueprint for success. This is the strategy you're going to use for every single one of these essays from now on.
It all comes down to 3 things. They're simple, but man, are they powerful. First, you've got to structure your essay around themes, the economy, the state, human nature, not around thinkers. Second, you have to show the debate. That means you've got to talk about where they agree and where they disagree. And third, the thinkers, they're your evidence. They're the ammo you use to prove your points.
Okay, so that's the big picture plan, the overall strategy. Now, let's get granular. Let's zoom right in and look at how you build one perfect paragraph.
And the magic formula here is peel. Now I know you've probably heard of peel before, but trust me, for these ideology essays, it is absolutely non-negotiable. Point, evidence, explanation, link. Every main paragraph has to follow this. It's like a recipe that forces you to bake a perfect argumentative cake every time.
Let's actually put this into action so you can see what I mean. Your point. You make a sharp claim, right? Socialists are fundamentally divided over capitalism. Boom. Your evidence. You bring in the heavy hitters. Marx wants to abolish it. Crosland thinks it can be managed. Your explanation. This is where you analyze why they're at odds. One sees capitalism as pure evil. The other sees it as a tool we can use. And then the killer blow, the link. You make a mini judgment that ties right back to the question. You say this disagreement is fundamental and irreconcilable. See that? In one little paragraph, you've built a complete, watertight argument. Okay, getting that structure down is like half the battle. But what about the other half? Well, that comes down to the words you choose. This is what separates a pretty good answer from an, oh my goodness, give this student all the marks answer.
Just look at the difference here. Saying Marx and Crosland disagree. I mean, yeah, okay, so what? It's a bit limp, isn't it? But then look at the other side. The rift between Marx's call for abolition and Crosland's management is irreconcilable. Whoa, now that has some punch. You're not just saying they disagree, you're explaining the depth and nature of that disagreement. That's analytical, that's evaluative, and that is pure top-level stuff.
So how do you actually do that? You've got to build what the official Marx scheme calls logical chains of reasoning. Fancy term, but all it means is connecting the dots. Don't just drop an idea and run away. You have to show how that idea leads to something else. Phrases like these are your toolkit. They help you build those connections, so your essay becomes this strong, interwoven argument instead of just a jumble of facts.
And it's the exact same story with evaluation. Don't just keep saying they disagree. You've got to judge the disagreement. How big is it? Is it just a tiny crack, a peripheral disagreement? Or is this tension irreconcilable? Is the rift so massive, so profound, that it basically shatters the whole ideology? Using words like these signals to the examiner that you're not just describing, you're making a high-level judgment. You're answering the "to what extent" part of the question.
Right, so you've done all the hard work. You've written your masterpiece, the structure is solid, the language is sharp. But before you put your pen down, you've got to run a quick pre-flight check.
And listen, these are the absolute non-negotiables. Have you got at least 2 key thinkers in there? Have you shown both agreement and disagreement? Super important. Does every single one of your paragraphs have that little mini judgment at the end? And finally, does your conclusion actually answer the question? I mean, really answer it with a final confident verdict. If you can say yes, 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 and yes, then you, my friend, are in a very, very good place.
So there you go. That's the blueprint. That's how you crack the 24-mark essay. See, it's not about being able to recite a million facts. It's about seeing the arguments inside the ideology and having the tools to explain them clearly. You've got the blueprint now. The only question is, which ideology are you going to go and master first?